Let's play with the echo.
Now we got sound. How's it go? Hal, can you hear us now?
No audio.
You say well, there's a lag. There's a lag. You should be able to hear us. Kinder Thulu, that reminds me of something.
Yeah.
Yeah, we can hear right now.
Hooray!
All right. Connor had a suggestion. Are you a hand model showing us something? Yes, we are.
That's the whole show is going to be pantomimes, boys and girls, and
right.
winners get.
Here's my Imperial coffee mug from Warhammer.
Ooh.
You can't see because everything's so dark. Boy, coffee sounds great right now.
Has everybody been as busy as I have been?
Yes.
Been
oh my gosh,
1,000 miles an hour.
My boss looked at me today. She goes, "You look terrible. Go to On Cue and get an energy drink." I was like, "Okay, I will." Thanks.
I don't know what that says about your boss. That it wasn't like you look terrible. You take a break. She says you look terrible. Go get yourself an energy drink.
That's the relationship we have, yeah.
Yeah, we had elections on Tuesday, so Wednesday morning was busy. I've had 2 tapings of the Yogi Geek podcast this week.
Right.
Do we get inside track on who they are?
Yeah. They're already loaded. I mean, I load them in 30 minutes after I record them. I do no editing.
Those come out fast.
So we talked to the guys at Literati Press. They've got a thing going on at the Cowboy Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
Not this weekend, but the next weekend, and it's really cool. It's where they're just gonna have kids come up and do drawings. I kind of nodded to the guy who does Blackjack Demon. He does like a western. It's a western set in Oklahoma where a guy's trying to chase down a demon. It's really cool. It's a great script, but great comic book. I said, somebody needs to do one for Red Dirt D&D, like the origin stories of the Tales from the Caliban and Frontier guys. So
yeah.
he goes, wow, that's a really great idea. So I don't know. The second one is on the Theater Crude Fringe Festival.
Yeah.
Which is a 10-day long theater festival where, what did they say, 17 different plays. It's kind of like the one acts. And just 1 hour long plays. Local, national, international artists come and do these plays here in Oklahoma City. They've been doing it for about 4 years now. This will be the 4th year. And so, yeah, it's really great. But those are my 2 that I did for the Open Geek podcast. And that and the Daily. And Red Dirt D&D. We got we're round table tomorrow. So technically, that is... Oh, and This Week in Oklahoma Politics for today. I think it's some like 11, 12 podcasts this week that I've done. So
he's a machine, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah.
Then I have a newscast for 5 hours every day.
Is that all?
Just don't ever get the 2 confused where you're like, and today your KSU forecast is thunderbolt, lightning, thunderwave.
Thunderwave.
Yeah.
I will rage.
Anyone who says, you just sit in a chair and push buttons all day, I just...
I don't know. After Tuesday's elections, I did want to rage Wednesday morning. Certainly.
Yeah. There were some things that just make you think, where do these people come from? But that's a different show.
Yeah.
We come here to escape that mostly.
We did, and I want to pull up this chat, so I need to see what they're pop out chat. I need to see what's saying here.
Basically, I think they're offering one of us as hand model prices.
I can't be a hand model. I got like freckles all over my hand. I got like connect the dots on my hand.
So you could do like an OnlyFans for that or something.
Well, I know the feet make a lot of money. I don't know if just like a hand would be.
My feet are nasty too, but hey, if anybody's into that, I'll take $20 for a deal. Speaking of my feet.
So on a scale of elephant to hobbit, where do those range, Mr. Cross? You know.
Oh, just the feet are not bad. It's the nails; they're horrible. I unfortunately don't have. I wish I had like furry, like hobbit feet. That'd be cool.
Yeah.
Wouldn't it though? That'd be absolutely awesome. So Hal did the math because he's that kind of guy. Of all you said, he figures you only work 25 hours a week.
Yeah, that's right. It's only 25.
Yeah.
The rest of it, I'm just sitting on. Actually, I got episode 1, our final episode before we go back into recording Sunday.
Awesome.
Got that all done, and
I am excited about tomorrow's roundtable because I just, there are roundtables that just jive and we have a good time.
Yeah.
And they're really kind of all that way because of the camaraderie we have. But man, I want to hear that one again because as I said right before we went live, I miss you guys, and the roundtable helps me feel like I'm there.
Yeah.
So,
yeah,
for sure.
And I think once we still got to figure out what we're going to kind of do. I think we've got an idea of what we're going to do in between campaigns, but it seems like we're just going to do like 3 roundtables. So
a nice break.
Yeah,
3 roundtables is light.
They'll be shorter because I still don't want to put out more than 40-minute long episodes.
Right.
So they'll technically be shorter, but yeah.
And depending on so anyway, I'll save that for a green room chat a little bit later on. That idea that was bubbling right there. So
Yes.
Michael, you mentioned Iterati, and I saw them recently. I'm trying to find the flyer so I can read to you. I had no idea this was a thing going on until about an hour after it started. On Friday the 12th, over here in the Plaza District, they had PlazaCon.
What?
So the second Friday of every month, the Plaza District does something. One night they have, one month it was like roller skating. It was Skate the Plaza, and they had a company come out and rent roller skates and teach you how. And it was everything from like new beginners on one end of the street, and at the other end of the street they had ramps and obstacle courses. So every month it's something. And this in August, it was it was PlazaCon. So Iterati was here, and they were in the back. So there's an alley that runs behind some of the buildings that people have painted beautiful murals on, and they were sitting back there with some of their art and publications and stuff. They had a cosplay contest, which was towards the end of the night, but everyone was walking around in full cosplay. And one of the businesses had set up like spray tents, the mist tents, and it was the cosplay cool off zone, where they could like cool off in their cosplay and hang out and everything. And SoonerCon was here. They were just saying, hey, we're going to start selling tickets early this year, et cetera, et cetera. I was wearing my One D&D shirt, and they were like, are you a GM? Do you know GMs? We know GMs. And I guess cocked my head and I was like, Ash King. And they're like, yeah, but we need more. And I'm like, if anything, I'm built into Ash King. So you might, let's see what happens as it gets closer to time for the con. They're like, okay, but they did say something interesting that I keep in mind. It doesn't have to be D&D. We're up for like just having tables of any kind of games just to spread some new and everything out there. But the restaurant Oak and Ore had 5e.
Really?
Wow.
And we all walk in there, and I don't know if it was because I live here and I didn't know about this event until, like I said, an hour after it started. So I walk in, there's only one table playing. It was a full table, and they were having a great time. And I asked them, there were 2 DMs, and I was like, hey, who are you guys? Where are you from? How did you get in this? And they basically just knew the coordinator of the second Friday events at Plaza District had said, hey, didn't you guys say you played D&D one time? We're doing a thing. Do y'all want to run a game in a restaurant for 4 or 5 hours? So they made up a homebrew for beginners. They printed out pre-gens. And I jumped in, but I was A, late, and B, the table was full and everything. But it was really interesting. Like, man, is this yearly? And it's like, well, they do it like more than once a year as they just schedule. They're like, hey, what are we going to do next month? Oh, let's throw this out again. That was fun or whatever. So I'm gonna keep an ear out, and we should really go in there and do some.
100%. Because we know some people, Andrew Halkender, who jump in there with us, right, guys? That would be so much fun.
For sure.
And speaking of just playing games, come over to MiracleCon this Saturday. Just 2 days. 2 days till MiracleCon. There are going to be games. You're going to have D&D. We're going to have video games. We're going to have board games. We're going to have all this stuff. And it raises money for Extra Life and the Oklahoma Children's Hospital Foundation. So
can't beat it. That's awesome.
I know. There's talk. Of course, we do the Extra Life event at Game HQ every year. Mm-hmm. And I'm actually thinking of doing the full 24 hours.
Oh, yeah?
Dun, dun, dun.
So we're taking on bets on how long you think this 53-year-old can last.
I believe in you.
For 24 hours.
But you're built. Really, what you have to do is make it through. You have to make it through like the evening time, because when the midnight hours hit, you'll be on.
I have to make it to the afternoon. My afternoons are. No, I'm a morning person and a night owl.
Yeah.
Yeah. I can stay up all night long and get up. I got 2 hours sleep. I'm fine. It's about 1 or 2 o'clock right about the time the epic's gonna hit. 1 or 2 o'clock in the afternoon. I'm like, kill me.
That epic will give you energy. That epic will give you energy. So are you gonna do all this as a player?
What's that?
Are you planning on doing this all as a player?
Yes. Well, as a volunteer, and I'll be playing every now and then. Yeah. And what's really funny is that's why I was like, if I can get to about once the sun goes down, boom, I'm like a vampire. I'm back up. I'm ready to go. I'm ready to party. I'm cool. But unfortunately, in November the sun will go down a lot sooner. So,
right.
But I figure, okay, I can actually get off work and actually come home and take a nap, because I do work in the morning, so I can actually come home and take a nap and then go down there and just can do the whole all night thing, volunteering, helping out with the food, helping get everything done. If I get a chance to play some games, I'll play some games. I know we'll play the Epic, but yeah, I think this is the first year that I'm actually going to go, you know what? 24 hours. I'm going to do it.
Yep.
Woo! So
24 hours was so easy 24 years ago.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, my gosh.
I mean, Kinder can attest. We would go to DarkCon on Friday afternoon and maybe go to sleep Sunday evening.
Oh, yeah.
Sunday around 3, we go home and crash for 2 days.
I miss the days when I was a kid. Dude, our D&D sessions started Friday after school.
Yes, they did.
Yeah.
Ended sometime on Sunday.
Yep.
Yep.
I was running Vampire like that.
Yeah, that's how D&D games are supposed to be played.
For sure. I think my record for continuous play, obviously, bathroom break or whatever, is like 36 hours, I think, is my record of just at the table and we are cranking it out.
Yeah. And so I know I could do it if I'm just doing it once, like a once a year type of thing. And yeah, you do it about 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock in the morning. Sometimes you're like, okay, just go take a power nap for a couple hours, and you're back up and ready to go. And I think I can still do that.
Yeah.
But we'll find out. It'll be interesting to find out. Plus, there's plenty. There's plenty of food.
Oh yeah.
So and last year they had these wonderful coffee, like cold brew coffee things. Hopefully we'll get those again. Those really kept me going. Those are fantastic.
Me it's psychological. What gets me is if I can stay up all night and I'm fine, but it's when I start to see the sun come up and hear the birds chirping that every hour I've been awake multiplies by 10 and hits me as hard as it can. If I can be inside and not see that transition from night to day, and just look out the window and all of a sudden it's 10 o'clock, I'm fine. It's seeing the sun come. That's the big reminder of you've been up all night long that hits me. Yeah.
I figure if I got caffeine, I'll be fine.
Yeah.
As long as I got some coffee, I'll be fine.
And they say the power nap trick is drink a cup of coffee or, strong coffee, and then wait 30 minutes and then take a 20-minute power nap, because it takes 30 minutes for the coffee to fully hit you. So you're waking up from the nap and the coffee's hitting you. And there's something about the 20-minute, if you actually lay down and go to sleep for 20 minutes, I read an article on it. There was a huge science behind it about people who, live those lifestyles where they have to be up a lot. And it's a cup of coffee, 30 minutes before a 20-minute nap, and you're good to go for like half a day. Yeah. Weird science.
Yeah, for me, it's a mixture of sake and Red Bull.
Sake and Red Bull? God, Michael Cross. I thought I went hard. Sake and Red Bull. I gotta write that down.
I have found in my older age, though, that a sugar hangover is a real thing.
Yeah,
right?
it is.
You just like Mountain Dew and Little Debbie's and, just the sugar. And then the next day now, I feel terrible.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
I feel terrible.
Yeah, and as I have gotten older, I've actually noticed that when I do eat sugar, whatever it is, the drop, the sugar, what is that called? The sugar crash.
Mm-hmm.
That's much worse than when I was a kid. The older I get, the better. So I'm like, okay, no, I just need a salad or something.
Right.
Welcome to the Grog Nerd Show, where old guys talk about.
Yes.
Forced
Let
March
me tell you
pills.
about the pills I'm taking now.
I got this little blue in here. They're M&Ms. I'm snacky.
So anyway, MiracleCon, 11 to 11. Edmond Hilton Garden Inn over on I-35 and Cobell. Please come by and see us. It's going to be a blast. It's going to be a party. My son's DMing, Ash is DMing. We got a whole bunch of DMs. It's going to be fun.
Brooke's going to be at the table almost the whole time. I think Kiri's going to be there.
I'm going to be at the table. Yeah.
I unfortunately am stuck with work because it's been overloaded lately, which is a good thing, but a bad thing.
Yeah.
We will send lots of selfies taunting you, I promise.
You're going to be like, look who showed up. And it's going to be like, yeah. That's be like, man.
Yep, there you go. Ooh, somebody can bring a bandana and I can sign it since I missed the last one.
That's right.
Yeah, since you're the bandana man.
I know.
I did not know how to put my bandana on until I saw the instructions that you made.
If I had just a little bit more either lameness or coolness, I'm not sure which way the arrow goes on this, I was that close to having a QR code that had videos of me folding them and putting them on instead of just pictures.
So we have got something to talk about.
Oh?
It was the big D&D announcement. Also, Magic the Gathering, if you're into that. Magic the Gathering announcement. The crossover of Magic the Gathering with Doctor Who and Lord of the Rings.
I know.
I still don't know how this game is played because I didn't realize there was an actual storyline to it. Because they're like, okay, you remember last season at the end when blah, 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 blah. I'm like, it's a card game. What are you talking about?
Nope, there's stories.
Yep. It's that reminds me of like BattleTech. It's more than just a strategy scrape the planet game. There's story behind it, So
yeah. Well, but that I can understand, but I don't quite understand how the card game has.
There are novels. Used to be, whenever a new set would launch, they had a thing called Fat Pack, and you would get like 8 packs of cards in it, and then like a big bundle of land, and a cool counter, and some tokens and stuff, and then a novel that like kicked off that set, and it had a storyline in it. And if you read the cards and look at the art on them, there's like quotes and such. And there's actually been Wizards have actually put videos out that like, yeah, if you lay these cards out, you'll notice that this guy is here with his family and his children, but then like over here he doesn't have his wife, because if you pay attention to this other card set, she gets killed in that expansion, and stuff. And yeah, they lay it out for you. It's a big, huge world.
That's pretty amazing.
Yeah, they go deep.
Yeah, there's a crossover with Doctor Who and a crossover with Lord of the Rings.
My thought on the Doctor Who crossover was your character, Your cards can't die. They have to die twice because they have 2 hearts.
Well, it seems like they would have to die 13 times.
Well, there's already a regenerate mechanic.
Okay.
In Magic, there already is a generate. It hasn't been around for a while, so I could really see them bringing back the regenerate mechanic. Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
But of course and we've got Dragonlance. They kind of put out again what's going to be coming out with Dragonlance.
Yep, it's going to be the strategy mini game, right?
It's going to be a little game inside the setting book, which is how they've been doing them for the last year and a half anyway. So that's not unusual. Then there's going to be a full box set board game.
There you go.
And it looks tabletop game. It looks really cool. Of course, it's like $160.
I was gonna say, I think we talked one episode of Plausible Deniability about the price on it, and we were all, it's Wiz Kids, it'll be super cheap. Yeah, no, it's for the initial set, it's $120, and then they said it would be a year before any of the expansion stuff was ready. And then you could build more armies or expand the game or what have you. Yeah. And I know that Magic the Gathering tried that a while back, and Kendra and I played that game. They did a modular miniature game where you could like build out kind of a battleground, and you actually had like modified Magic cards is what the minis would do and stuff. And it was great fun, and they took a year to put out the expansion, and by that time everyone's like, well, I'm over this game. I've played it every way you could possibly play this game multiple times. It's stale now, and this little, $30 expansion pack isn't going to breathe life into it. I really think they need to put it out. So like a lot of miniature games, the Star Wars miniature game, Star Wars Legion, it come out with the core set and then a bunch of little expansions right away. And then every month they would put one out for a year, and then they slowed down. Yeah. Because people had time to catch up and and play different styles and stuff. That's because I really want this game to last. I want this miniature game for Dragonlance. I want it to like take off and last and be a big deal.
Yeah.
The only thing that worries me is they're going to be running for a year before they put any other content out.
Yeah, the big thing is going to be Onslaught before that. Before they want to focus on Onslaught before they do the Dragonlance stuff.
Yeah.
So they'll put out the Dragonlance thing, but their real focus is going to be trying to make Onslaught the next big miniature game. So then of course there's some stuff going on with Driss. There's going to be new. Of course, the newest novel just came out recently. I think earlier this month. The newest Dragonlance novel came out this month. There's going to be some new things going on with Driss next year. And then I love the fact that they had Ginny D out there talking about all these things that are going to happen. And then late next year, Planescape. And let's move on.
Yeah.
Come back.
Yeah, now you have our attention.
Tell me more about what you're going to do with Planescape. But they don't know yet. It's still in the works. So we'll have to wait and see. I think it's going to be really cool. It's just all these new settings. They're fantastic.
Yeah.
But the big news, of course, was One D&D.
There you go.
One D&D. If you tuned in to A&M Talk D&D, we are going through all of the stuff in the Unearthed Arcana. So there's no reason to hash all the way through that. We are doing that right now on A&M Talk D&D. Make sure you catch up right now because it's a lot of stuff. It's probably the biggest Unearthed Arcana we've ever seen. So much stuff going through races, backgrounds, feats.
Criticals.
Well, there's a thing about critical roles that are very interesting.
They are interesting. That's my big takeaway from. I haven't been able to invest a lot of time into looking at a lot of it, but I did hear that, and so I went digging, and I was like, yeah, that's holy crap. That's what it says about criticals. Interesting. Very.
So yeah.
The journalist came out for a moment. He was like, "That's very interesting."
Yeah. Right. Yeah. I can't be biased.
Know what we're talking about. Critical. Okay. So first off, we now call it a D20 test. The Unearthed Arcana. It's called a D20 test. That is any time you roll a D20 for ability checks, or saving throws, or for attacks. It's a D20 test, is what they're calling it. And now they're saying that every time you roll a nat 20, it's an automatic success. Anytime you roll a nat 1, it's an automatic fail. Now most of our audience go, well, that's how it's always been.
No.
It hasn't.
No.
The nat
for
20
combat,
and a nat 1 only matters for attacks and death saves.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
That's it. Now they're saying it is for everything. The problem with that is this is where DMs have to be a lot smarter.
Mm-hmm.
If a person says, I want to jump to the moon,
Yep.
the DM says, no.
Yeah, that's what. So that's the big buzz right now. Is
you can try anymore?
Because,
yeah. Oh, look, I got a 20. Congratulations, you're on the moon.
Yeah, that's the big buzz right now. Is this is going to make 5e DMs stop saying yes to everything, or you can try. Well, I rolled a 20. If you had more bonuses, maybe. Well, now it's like I rolled a 20. It's like, okay, you succeeded. So yeah, that's going to make a whole lot of and it's not. And you're using.
If you're a 6th strength warlock, you cannot pull off the door.
Right. But what happened, and you're using an extreme of jumping to the moon, which I've seen used as an example for a week everywhere I look. But it's also going to stop. I'm going to try and disarm the trap. Oh, I failed. Can I try? Sure. Can I try? Sure. Can I try? Sure. Because at that point, there's no uniqueness in your party if everyone in your party is making the roll for it. Right. So it's like I could have made any character, and it doesn't matter what I make because everyone in the party can do the exact same thing. So I think that's going to be very helpful on the DM side and the player side. The DM won't have to come up with as much crap. What do I do? Because you really succeeded at that type of moments, and then the players will feel like, oh, you need me now. This is my moment to shine. Type of deal. Yeah.
Well, if you look to the person who can succeed.
That's what I built this character. When I started playing Pathfinder 2, I was playing with some 5e people who couldn't wrap their head around that. It's like I built my character to be very mobile, so my character can go up a ladder at normal speed, can jump high, can jump far, can jump, etc. Yours was built for like traps. So I'm going to get there before you are because you have all the normal restraints that basic role-playing games have of movement, and my character is built to overcome those. Everyone shouldn't be able to overcome them because you roll high.
Right.
Yeah.
Was there any? I know a lot of systems. You have to at least be trained in that skill to do it. Was there any reference to that?
No, not now. Of course, this is just the very first of the Unearthed Arcana.
Exactly.
And it is going to be play tested. In fact, I'm very excited to announce that our Saturday group will be play testing it.
Nice.
We've canceled I've been running them through a campaign.
I
said, let's put that campaign on hold because we need to be play testing this stuff. We need to figure out whether it works, whether it doesn't work. We need to be filling out these surveys, and you can't just do it by making out characters. You have to play these characters to find out. Mm-hmm. Because here's the other thing. The other part of the critical
hits
thing that the critical hits that they talk about is that when you critical hit, it's double your dice. That's how we play right now. The change in the Unearthed Arcana is it's only double the weapon die.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
That's it. So spells,
sneak attack doesn't double. Smite doesn't double. So it's only your weapon damage. Now, a lot of people are complaining about this, but I think it actually, from the DM standpoint, it actually makes it a lot more fair. Especially because so many people are going to be, on this new system, are going to be getting inspiration. Mm-hmm. So your chance of rolling a nat 20 is going to be a lot easier because when you roll a nat 20, you get an inspiration. If you're a human, whenever you wake up, you get an inspiration. There's feats out there that give you inspiration. They want you to have inspiration. In fact, you lose any inspiration at the end of the night. You only get one, so there's going to be people who are going, okay, I'll use it now. I'll use it because there's a chance of getting another one within the next round. So people are going to be using inspiration a lot more often under these rules than they were before. So their chance of hitting a nat 20 is pretty good. Mm-hmm. And if you've got a rogue who's just hitting out sneak attack and doubling their sneak attack damage as well, well, it's going to unbalance the game. And so I think that's the way they fixed it. So there's going to be a lot of players who complain that about sneak attack and about smites not getting their double damage. But from a DM standpoint, it makes it a lot more fair, I think. Before we jump into what Connor said, which is going to be a big conversation, Michael, I was talking to my Tuesday night group about this whole, the thing with like sneak attack doesn't double anymore, et cetera, et cetera. And made up of my Tuesday night group is someone who's never touched 5e. They only hear about it. A 5e player coming to Pathfinder, and then everyone else just plays both. And something that was brought up was there's not a big difference between the two systems is lack of feats. And the big discussions come up with a lot of 5e people are like, oh, feats are kind of too much and overwhelming. Someone had a theory of all the stuff they're taking away from 5e in this playtest might come back as a feat. So if you hit level 4 and you've got the point for it and you've got a list of feats and you're a rogue, you can take Elven Stride where you can walk faster, or you can take this feat where once during an encounter your sneak attack bonus doubles on a crit. That could come back as a feat. So again, you bring in uniqueness to characters. They're all the same, cookie cutter. And now it's a choice. Are you a rogue that is deadly and all about just power and destruction, or are you going to be more sneaky thief type? Do that little niche of customization through a list of feats that you can choose every so many levels. And I think it's a brilliant. I don't know if they're going to do it, but that's a heavy theory that would make all these minor things are taken away could come back as feats, and you do or don't have to take them.
Well, I think feats are going to play a much bigger role. They already are playing a much bigger role in the fact that every backgrounds
get them.
Mm-hmm. Every human, they've gone away from the regular human and stayed with the variant human who has a feat. So if you play a human in the Unearthed Arcana, you get 2 feats to start out with. As Hal put it Tuesday night, I'm a human and I'm born with 2 feet.
You're right. Yep. I was about to say the same thing. Dang it, Hal.
Yes, I am. But he said that on Tuesday night. I'm not taking credit for that one. You'd start out with either the which kind of feet is it? I've got it right here.
Stinky feet? Bird feet?
It's
half foot?
Brooke's
trying to come up with something he can't.
it's the skill feat, which gives you 3 skill proficiencies.
Mm-hmm.
And then every background has a feat. So you're going to be those are the 2 feats that you could start out with. You could start out with 2 of them. Then at 4th level you get another one. I don't know how they're going to do it as they move on.
Mm.
But
from what you've seen, are they handing you and saying, "Here's the feat you get, take this," or do you get to choose what feat you take?
Yes.
Yeah, choose.
To both.
Oh, okay.
To both every background comes with you get the. So I'll just turn to a background and pick it. The artisan background. The artisan comes with the crafter feat.
Makes sense. Yeah.
The charlatan comes with the skilled feat as well. The criminal comes with the alert feat.
Okay.
So, but you can also adapt your backgrounds. Talk to your DMs, guys. Do not just go, oh, well, I got this. Talk to your DMs. Make sure it works.
Yeah, theme it. Make it thematic to your character.
Right. You could say, well, I don't think that would work. I want to play the charlatan, but he also was maybe a guard for a little while. He was a bodyguard for a while. So he's more alert. So I think you should take the alert feat. Okay, great. And they are also picking which ability scores. And the ability scores now are tied to backgrounds rather than races.
Yeah.
Which, thank goodness. It makes more sense. You're trained.
It does.
How are you trained? Not how are you born. It's how are you
trained. For those of us who, that was always a limitation in the earlier rule set.
Oh yeah.
Because if you were a half elf, that was living with humans, you could kind of have that modification there. But if it was something interesting where you were a human that was raised by dwarves,
yeah,
you should have a lot of dwarven skill and trait. Yeah. But again, the rules didn't allow for that. It was just like, it's all nature. None of it is nurture, and this. Yeah. For storytelling purposes, I really like it. So,
a big buzzword that's come up since this playtest launched is bioessentialism, and which is basically if you know a guy from Mexico, you automatically assume he can speak Spanish.
Right.
I like the circumstantialism, if I'm making up a word, which is I'm Middle Eastern, but I was raised by a family who specifically spoke Spanish. So, of course, I can speak Spanish because my circumstances dictated so.
Yeah.
So this whole thing with the skill checks going to background, I come from a race of gnomes, but I'm super strong because I got a job as a UPS delivery guy and lifting boxes all day, built up my muscles. Circumstance.
I was a soldier.
Yeah.
I'm an orc, but I was raised by both of my parents were magic users, so I was more intelligent. I was a sage. So yes, it makes much more sense for these the ability score increases to be tied to backgrounds. But again, it is also, you can optionalize your background. Again, talk to your DMs, guys. Don't just make it up on your own. Once you talk to your DM, say, well, he for a long time he was a sage, but it didn't really work for him, and he never really he never studied very well. He was, so he said goofed around and he sold potions, and so, although he had a sage background, maybe he's got more deception than he has, more charisma than he has. So there's ways to work around it, but again, the only way to know whether or not these are going to work is by play testing them. And so I'm so excited to play test them.
Oh yeah.
And find out how they work, because
Yeah, here's another lore drop. If Kiri is still in the chat, she loves little lore drops that I do about Zonimus. If you ever met Zonimus's parents, you would see the circumstance that came from both his mother and his father that created who you see as Zonimus.
I was just thinking that, because here we have in Red Dirt this character that is this half orc, half elven blend, and for a lot of tables they were like, well, that doesn't exist. How can that be? But it's such a great. I really really like it.
Yeah.
I've always said that about Zonimus, because it makes people go, wait, what?
Yeah. And you would be like, wow, Zonimus, you're just like your mom. And then the next day you meet my dad, and you're gonna be like, wow, Zonimus, you're just like your dad. And I think that's how. It's really nice that it's pulling it. I think I always looked at race honestly as role play, and the only thing that turned me off about ever playing a race was if the DM was like, well, if you play that race you have a -2 at what should be your most important skill. I'm like, okay, well, I'll pick a different race then. But I always go for the race just for the, do I want to role play short and wobbly, or tall and lithe, or having ears or not having ears. Or in Gaz's case, wearing clothes,
Right. It was always fun. I reached the point in my gameplay where I wanted to have the half orc magic user who had the penalties of intelligence, right? Because at that point I'm like, what does that look like? I mean, and can it work out when you start getting to higher levels where you have in those days, you had to have a certain ability score to be able to cast a certain level spell, and so can I stay ahead of the game to make it happen?
An orc magic user looks like the Hulk in an Endgame. Yeah. That's how I always imagined it. Was like, it's
smart Hulk.
Yeah, smart Hulk. That's.
Now here's the thing, because you're talking about being half orc, half elf. That's the other thing that the Unearthed Arcana does, is it gets rid of half elves and half orcs.
Yeah.
They no longer exist in this. Now this might change, of course. All this is up to change, but in this Unearthed Arcana, there is no statistic for a half-elf or half-orc. And I gotta say, at first I was kind of like, okay, that's the first time in 40 years. If this stays the same, the Dungeons & Dragons and the iteration of Dungeons & Dragons has not had statistics for a half-elf or a half-orc. They go back all the way to the very, very beginning.
Yeah.
But instead...
Things from fighting man to just fighter.
Right. Right now, what they're doing is simply saying, if you are a half-elf, great, pick a human or elf statistic, divide up the lifespan, just take the average of the lifespans, and then color it however you want it. Okay? Maybe he's got more around it. Maybe he wears a beard like Tanis. Maybe there's something about him, but that is nothing to do with statistics. You are either elf statistic or human statistic. But what it does is it opens the door to what other people had always asked about. Well, what about an orc and an elf?
Yes.
What about a gnome and a dwarf?
Yes.
What about a halfling and an orc? And it says, yes, all of those can happen. Just pick halfling or orc, and then flavor it. Maybe you're a little bit shorter. Maybe you're a little bit taller for a halfling. Maybe you know, and it also mix up. You could do a tiefling gnome.
A tiefling Aasimar.
Yeah, there's so much. I'm just going by what they have here. So I haven't mentioned anything besides, no Tabaxi,
Tabaxi Dragonborn.
Tabaxi Goblin. But Dragonborn, you could even be, and usually what they were always saying was Dragonborn, there was no half Dragonborn, there was no half Tieflings. So finally, a halfling orc, a hork.
Why do we let him come? Why?
But I like the fact that they've actually done that here, is allowed for you to go, okay, you have to pick the stat that works for you, but then flavor it however you want. Since ability scores are no longer tied to it, it doesn't really matter. It's just about some little features you get, and I think I like the way they're doing it. It's very interesting. I think you'll hear some blowback from some grognards about not having half elves and half orcs.
Right.
But
it's and again, you want to it's going to be your person's table, right?
Yeah.
It's going to be your group's table. But at the same time, we also need to make sure that we're not continuing to be gatekeepers and have stereotypes that aren't healthy.
Yeah.
But if you want to still call that a half orc at your table, call it. It's okay.
It's still a half orc.
It's your table. Do what you want. And Brooke, you nailed it. I think one of the reasons they did that was because people with half orcs had terrible backstories about how they're a half orc. That's why I love Zonimus. Zonimus was like, my mom and dad met out of the blue and just fell in love at first sight, and that's where Zonimus gets his love from, is his mother and his father. So much so that his father goes over the edge for love, and gives up everything to. Then Zonimus tried to backstory for Zonimus another day, but yeah, and I was like, it's like the question I asked at the Sunarcon panel that you were on with Seth Skorkowski. I just name dropped. Is what's the D&D trope that's out there that you've taken and put a twist on, And my twist is, I'm a half elf. And the other half of that is orc, and it's not because of raiders attacking a local village. It's because they chatted one night under a full moon and fell in love.
Yeah. My favorite character in AL is my half orc Grog, who comes from I chose what background can I choose for a half orc barbarian? Noble.
Yeah, of course. Yep.
He comes from a tribe. He's a prince of the tribe. His parents are both half orcs. He's a half, and his whole tribe was half orc, and he is fourth in line. So it's not like he was actually ever going to be the tribal, So he's now he's a lord of Waterdeep now, but he, because he's 17th level, he's got a buttload of money, and but
he had a character live that long.
Yeah, he's now Lord Grog, but. So I went, what can I do with this half-orc that is not obvious? And so that's why I chose the noble background. I chose a story where he is actually from a fairly wealthy tribe of half-orcs. Both his parents are half-orcs, and
it's like Arya Stark in Game of Thrones, and she didn't want to be all princessly and ladylike and stuff. Well, a guy can do the same thing, and yours didn't want to learn which fork to use. Yours wanted to learn how to kill something with a spoon. And so he did.
So the other, and you were talking about different sizes. One of the things that I do love about this is the humans. They've always had human sizes. Humans are always medium. Not in this. They are medium or small. 2 to 4 feet.
That's a big deal. If it's, a lot of DMs don't pay attention to the size and what it matters to the game, but that can be a big deal.
Yeah, and I think that is absolutely huge. Finally, just kind of recognizing, hey, humans do come in all sizes, and I think they did that with they did the humans. I think they did it with Dragonborn too. No, there's another race. It's typically
dwarf would be a great option for that, because I know a lot of people that play tall dwarves.
The dwarves are, I think that they're still medium. They've always been medium, but I think. No, they're just medium 4 to 5 feet. But I don't know. When was the tiefling? It was the tiefling. Yeah, it's the humans and the tieflings. Can be medium or small.
And there's your tiefling gnome right there.
And here's the other thing. Guess what, folks? The dwarves and the halflings, Kiri and Brooke, are you listening? Your movement is 30 feet.
It's crazy.
This is wrong. I tell you, wrong.
Natural sprinters. I've been telling you for years.
Keep saying that.
Keep
I don't
saying.
think he knows what that means.
30 feet. My God. Back in my day, it was 20.
Yeah. So everybody now moves 30.
Nice.
Not just the short kobolds. Everybody moves 30. And I think that's great. I think it's a fantastic idea. Because especially when you're talking about combat, that's the whole point of it, is you're not talking about, because usually you're measuring it in 6-second increments.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So 30 feet, it's not like you're really sprinting, you know. So yeah, I don't see any problem with doing the 30 feet thing, and
Yeah.
But it's really interesting. So,
Michael, we got 15 minutes left. I'd love to hear you. I know it flew by.
Don't forget Connor's question in the chat.
Well, I would love to. Yeah, I would love to hear you talk about how creatures cannot crit you.
I didn't understand that. Why can creatures not crit you?
So you're fighting a mimic, and that mimic rolls a 20. It's just a 20. It's just a number on the die. That's the thing that's in the playtest.
There's a lot of buzz about that.
It's about, like Connor says, it's the wording in it, the way that, and there's lots of YouTubers out there talking about it, podcasts I've heard talking about it. It really sounds like creatures don't crit you anymore.
Well, it's weapon damage or unarmed strike.
Is it just those? So a spell can still crit you, or you can critically fail your save against the spell.
A spell can't, but if you've got a big bad comes at you with half dragon bad guy comes at you with a sword, he's going to crit you. His sword will crit you.
There's a lot of people out there when the playtest was released that would disagree with you based on some wording. I haven't looked at it. I just keep seeing all the buzz. That's like the biggest buzz I see is that is like now it's impossible to die in this game because you can't.
So D20 test.
It's got to be some type of flaw in the word.
Critical hits. Weapons and unarmed strike have a special feature for player characters. Critical hits. If player characters rolls a 20 for an attack roll with a weapon or unarmed strike. I guess what they're reading is if a player character. But
they're very specifically saying creatures can't.
Because this is for players. This isn't made for DMs. So this is not made for a DM anyway. DM should not be playing from this. The DM should be playing from it's backwards compatible. Should be playing from the DM's guide.
Yeah.
And the original player's handbook. They're reading too much into the player character, but this whole thing is for player characters. They're not made for DMs. You're not building your.
Yeah, they said this is based on like if you were opening the new player's guide. This is like the first few pages you would see is what they're saying.
Yeah.
This part of the playtest is.
Yeah. Again, we don't know what it's going to look like, and this is just this Unearthed Arcana. So I'll tell everybody out there, this does not mean monsters can't critically hit you. Okay.
I certainly hope not.
This is made for players. This Unearthed Arcana is made for players only, and not for DMs.
Oh yeah, that's it.
Have monsters in here.
It is very specific because it says. Yeah, it says for player characters. Yeah, that's why everybody's freaking out because it doesn't say if anything does this with weapons and unarmed strike. It's saying if players do this with weapons and unarmed strike.
Right, but this again, the entire...
That's a stretch. That's a reach.
The entire thing is for player characters.
Yeah.
So DMs, if you're using this for playtest, your monster can still crit.
You would really think Perkins would have popped up on Twitter by now and said, "Whoa, you're reading this wrong. Creatures can still crit you."
I think Crystal's a little busy right now.
I know. Well, think about it like this though. You have a creature that's going to cast Fireball on you. And you roll a 1 on your reflex save.
You mean your dex save?
Or your sorry, God.
So I still use this every time.
Yeah.
What's a reflex save? A far superior.
So because you can
things that you ever said for the. Well, actually, you said a lot of funny things, but that was one of my favorites.
You can crit fail saves now.
Yes.
So if you critically fail your deck save on a fireball, it's worse.
No, that's never been a part of 5e.
Is it going to be?
A failure doesn't mean that's why we don't have critical, like
so,
you drop your sword or we don't have.
Right, but the way so let's look at it like this: if we're playing D&D and a bad guy comes up to you and hits you with a sword, and that sword does 1d6 plus 1 damage. You just took 1d6 plus 1. If it hits you with a sword and rolls a 20, you just took 2d6 plus 1. Mm-hmm. What if it rolls up to you and hits you with a 1? It critically failed. Nothing happened? Or with a fireball, if your deck save is a crit, you completely got out of the way. If your deck save is just a success, you kind of got out of the way. And if you critically fail your deck save, you still just kind of get out of the way.
No, a DM can flavor it however they want, but the truth is, in the mechanics of 5e, it has never had critical. It has never had it's a word that they use for them, but critical fails where you. My sword broke, or I threw it in the river,
or I
stabbed my friend. That's never been a part of 5e, so it's not going to be a part of 5e.
But also, and you just said it yourself a minute ago, in 5e since the dawn of time, there has been half elves, and now there's not.
Right, but I'm just saying what I'm.
Gnomes couldn't run 30 feet, and now they can.
And so if you critically fail a fireball, you just critically failed.
You just failed. You just failed.
It also means that if escaping my fireball, I've got a DC 25.
Yeah.
Okay, and I roll a 20. Congratulations, you did not get hit by that fireball. So it's an automatic success.
Yeah.
That's where the change is in this. Not whether you critically fail or not. It's whether you critically succeed. It's when you've got up against somebody who's got a DC 25, DC 30, DC 30.
Yeah.
Like that's a Pathfinder numbers. But
those are low Pathfinder numbers.
But still, if I rolled a nat 20, you succeed no matter what it is.
Yeah.
So it's going to be interesting to see how well the D20 test works for things like that, because that's my only issue, because again, I'm the weak wizard. I'm going to go try to rip the door off its hinges. Oh, I rolled a 20. Congratulations, you ripped the door off its hinges.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, for anything that's a high DC, rolling a nat 20. Of course, that also helps when you've got somebody who has like a negative to my wisdom. When I was getting hit by the Mind Eater, and he had a high DC.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
And I have like a -1 to my, it's not -1 to my wisdom, but -1 to my intelligence. But he's got a high DC, and I'm like, I can't. Even if I rolled a 20, I wasn't going to succeed.
So it's less about the degrees of success and more about the chance of success that you think they're trying to do. Okay, yeah.
And the fact that we have a lot more inspiration, and you have to use the inspiration, so that's going to be a lot of people rolling with advantage. So, that's exactly what inspiration does. It just allows you to roll with advantage. And every time you get a 20, nat 20, you get a new inspiration. And if you already have one, you can give it to someone who doesn't have one.
Oh, that's nice.
So there's going to be a lot of inspiration out there. There was one person I read on the web that was worried about people inspiration farming, basically trying to constantly roll the D20 test to try and get that nat 20.
Oh yeah, there will be. Someone just came to mind actually, and you know who they are.
But again, there's an easy way to get around that.
Yeah.
It's called the Dungeon Master.
Well, it's called say no, and that's the big thing with D&D. It's just say no.
It's the Dungeon Master.
Yeah.
It's the Dungeon Master drawing.
Can I roll for this? Can I roll for that? Yeah. It's no.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think it's going to be interesting. I'm really looking forward to play testing this. I'm really looking forward to filling this big massive folder up with Unearthed Arcana. I guess they're supposed to be out every 2 weeks or so. from what I understand.
Oh, that frequently?
Yeah, something like that.
I mean, they got a lot to put out if it's going to be a year when it comes out, because it'll come out. August is when big stuff changes. I know Wizards doesn't go to Gen Con anymore, but August is the New Year's of tabletop gaming.
So it'll be August of 2024. So it is exactly 2 years away, and that's why what they'll do is they'll play test it, and then they'll put out surveys, and they'll go, okay, let's rewrite this. So there's going to be different. What just came out, what just dropped, there's going to be a new version of this, probably in about 8-9 months.
Yeah.
Because it'll be a revamp. Hopefully they get rid of the Ardling. Sorry, my only big personal beef is the Ardlings. Folks, how about time I got 5 minutes? Ardlings.
Take it away.
They are basically Aasimar. They are Aasimar. They are heavenly beings, but instead of Aasimars that are just really gorgeous-looking human-type people, they're humanoids with animal heads. They're mascots, folks.
They're mascots.
They're humans with animal heads. And
Yeah.
I'm thinking when we do the Saturday group, Aiden's going to be DMing us, and I'm like, okay, I should really try to play an Ardling, but I'm like, I can't bring myself to play a creature with an animal head. Now, playing an animal like a Tabaxi or an Aarakocra, that's great. I love that idea.
But Aarakocra with Arnold Schwarzenegger's body?
But yeah, but like, can you imagine playing a Herringon basically? Yeah, with Arnold Schwarzenegger's body.
Or the Jessica Rabbit but the rabbit's head.
Oh yeah.
That's your combo right there.
Yeah. So
that is
don't know.
wrong bad in all kinds of ways.
I just don't understand why they have the Ardlings. Let's just make them Aasimar.
Yeah. Because what does that do to the Aasimar then?
There's already the answer, the good aligned answer to Tieflings.
Yeah.
They're Aasimar. They already exist. Why create a brand new? And have you guys ever heard of Ardling before? Is there any other edition where that's come up?
No, never had heard it.
I think they would be good for like a specific campaign setting.
Yeah.
To just like appear in that and not elsewhere, but not for the general overall. Anybody can be one.
If you want to play an animal, they have Tabaxi, Aarakocra, they Turtle. They have every type of animal already in humanoid form.
Play a Griff. Play
play a Herringon, play an Owlin, a Lionin, a Leonin. They're out there. I don't understand why sticking an animal head on a human body. It makes no sense. So I'm hoping that they go, wow, that was just a goofy idea, and they get rid of it. But more than likely they won't.
Because it's just silly enough to keep.
Yeah.
I'm with you. I didn't like it at all, and now I want to embrace just the mascotness of it, just to ridicule it so much,
Yes. Every time you see a mascot, it's like that got the head of an animal. Oh,
right.
Look, it's an Ardling.
Can I be a coniferous Ardling, and then I'm like the Stanford tree? Can I do that?
Yes.
What if
I'm a pine?
What if Dad was a Tabaxi and Mom was a GIF? I want the cat body and that giant bulbous head. I can't even move around.
Yeah, you want to play an animal with a hippo head? Just play a GIF.
Just play it.
But that does bring up a good thing about mixing races. So instead of the full animal head, can I dial it back, anamorphic, and then cosplay is real easy because I just get the rabbit ears, and then
it's a GIF head with the Tabaxi. Right here is just a Tabaxi.
It's just the GIF head with cat ears.
Right.
I promise, as the DM, I am critting on that creature every time.
Yeah.
Yes. It's an abomination!
That's what it is. It's an abomination. There's nothing heavenly about that at all.
Jeez.
I think we've answered a lot of questions about this. I think this has been good.
Yeah, I think nobody asked.
Hal in the chat says it must have come about because someone wants to play a Thundercat.
Yep.
Well, if you want to
Yeah.
play Thundercat, then play Tabaxi.
Yeah,
My wife plays Tabaxis all the time, and she every time something scary drops out, she poofs.
You know, when I think of Tabaxi, though, I think more of Snarf than Lion-O. So this may be the way you get to Lion-O.
Oh, Leonin.
Oh, right, yeah.
They're out there. They're already out there. You don't have to stick a head on a human.
Michael's damaged from this.
You know, the worst thing is I'm probably gonna get so much hate mail. And
Don't gatekeep my weird animal head fetish, Michael.
When Ardlings become the actual, because when the next, by the way, the next edition, if everyone wants to know, it's just gonna be called Dungeons and Dragons.
They should. I think they should. Yeah, they should.
It's gonna be called Dungeons and Dragons.
Yeah.
So when Dungeons and Dragons comes out in 2 years, Ardley's probably gonna be one of those things, and everyone's gonna love him. And there's gonna be tape of me going how much I hated it. He was an Ardling hater from the beginning. There's gonna be black and white, video of me,
Yeah.
he hated Ardlings from the beginning.
We're gonna take pictures of your. We're gonna take pictures of your face to like every table at Game HQ with like
Ardling hater.
Ardling hater.
not welcomed.
Better yet, there'll be a fan club that'll just, like trolling by putting Michael's body.
No, they'll do the reverse. It'll be like a little sparrow with Michael's head.
With Michael's head,
They'll
yes.
flip it around. Yeah.
Wow.
Wow.
Those are Leonards, the folks that have the. Never mind.
I'm getting off the internet.
Yes, you are. Hey, everybody. We've had some great people in chat, and I want to thank everybody. Let's see, you got Andrew and
Kinder
Thulu.
Thulu.
We haven't talked for a while. There's Kinder Thulu.
Connor Whittlesey.
It's
Connor,
I want some Crown Royal. I haven't had Crown Royal
Oh,
ever.
wow.
I was thinking that just the other day. I want to have some Crown on the rocks. That would be just.
You just want a new bag for your dice. That's all.
That's why I started drinking Crown Royals, because they had dice bags. But yeah.
Sure.
No, Mom, it's just for the dice, I promise.
That's the wrong thing to say when you brag about having, and I have thousands and thousands of dice. Yeah, and I'm sure they're all in Crown Royal bags.
Hey, Uncle Paul, when you finish that Crown Royal, can I
Yeah,
have that?
I've been there. That's
Yeah.
all, yes. Can I have the bag? Yeah.
This has been great. I missed you guys.
Yeah, it's been
I miss
fun.
you guys so much. And everybody in chat, we have roundtable tomorrow. It's going to be a good one.
We have Roundtable Sunday.
But one drops on Friday.
Roundtable drops tomorrow, yes.
Yeah.
Episodes 109 to 111. We had a brand new episode drop today. Monsters Island dropped on Monday. Wow. And of course, I've been doing this, and recorded Secrets of Monster Island on Saturday. Recorded A&M Talk D&D on Tuesday. I'm a very, very busy person.
Yeah, it's been a busy time lately.
Well, it's 8:02, and we should let you go take that. Have you chugged your coffee so you can get up in 30 minutes and go again?
Yes, ready to go.
Coffee.
Gotta be training.
Does your coffee come in a special velvet bag, Michael Cross?
Yeah.
All right, ladies and gentlemen.
Everyone come see us Saturday.
Saturday. Check everyone out.